welcome to my next video. Today is the 17th of May 2026 and today I've come to do the Piccadilly tour. It's one that I've been wanting to cross off from my list, so I'm really looking forward to it, really looking forward to seeing what's down there. So yeah. So this station is quite different to Aldwych. Aldwych closed because it had a lack of footfall. This station was redeveloped because it had the opposite problem. It had too many people. So the Baker Street and Waterloo Railway, known as the Bakerloo Line, opened on the 10th of March 1906. And what we know is the Piccadilly Line, which was the Great Northern Piccadilly and Brompton Railway, that opened on the 15th of December 1906, owing to the rest of the line not being complete. The original station was designed by Leslie Green and would have had the lovely red terracotta tiles on it. There were three entrances originally, one on Jermyn Street, one on Haymarket and one on Piccadilly. Now this building here is what has replaced the original building. However, as we see on the tour, there's things underneath here that haven't changed. I originally saw this diagram in the Hidden London book. Now, I was a little bit confused as to exactly where things lay, but having done the tour, it has become a bit more clear. So at street level, you would have had the three entrances and exits. There were two booking halls where you could buy tickets, and there were four lift shafts. Each one had two lifts in it, and there were dedicated ones for Bakerloo Line and Piccadilly Line. To help the station flow well, there was a one-way system. So you'd go into the lift one side, out the lift the other side, and then when you're underground, it's very similar. You follow the one-way system. The Bakerloo Line platforms are approximately 28 metres underground. Now, the platforms run on the outside and the tracks run on the inside of this platform. The Piccadilly Line platforms are approximately 32 metres underground. So as you can see from this diagram, the platforms are in the middle and the running lines are on the outside. So when all of this was hand dug in the 1900s, somehow they managed to put the cross passages for the Bakerloo lines directly above the Piccadilly line. So hopefully that makes this diagram a little bit more clear. Now, the section I've been talking about is just here. However, you can also see in this diagram here that there is a cross passage which connects the Bakerloo and the Piccadilly lines together, and that is still there today. So why is it different today? When it opened in 1906, it was estimated that there's about 1.5 million people a year used it. By the 1920s, this has increased to about 18 million. So there just wasn't the capacity in the station for people to move around. So something needed to be done. So in the 1920s, they came up with the idea of building a brand new booking hall underneath Piccadilly Circus. And this is what they managed to do. Before the construction began, they built a full-size mock-up of the old Earl's Court exhibition. So how do you build a new booking hall whilst keeping the station open and not closing down Piccadilly Circus? So the Eros statue, as people know it as, was in a slightly different location. They moved this and then dug a hole underneath and then built the new area. The architect Charles Holden came up with the idea of building a steel frame and then bringing it in. So they would have dug some of the ground out, put some of the steel frame in, and then carried on to build what is the roof of the booking hall. As I said before, the new booking hall was built whilst keeping the station open. Now, I think that the old station footprint would have been something like this. And today's station footprint is something like this. It took almost 4 years from when they started to dig to when the station was open for public use. And there are 54 of these columns in the booking hall as you go around. This diagram really shows the complexity of the station. So you can see here, this is at the top of the escalator where you'd come in at the booking hall. You then come down to a landing platform, and then the escalators go back on themselves. Now, this is because of way leave, and they could only build under the road. So you have one set of escalators going down to the Piccadilly platform, one set of escalators going down to the Bakerloo platforms, and then a whole host of corridors and passageways in between. There's also an emergency spiral staircase which goes up to the today's booking hall, and this section over here, this is the part of the original station, which is what you see parts of on the tour. When you know exactly what you're looking for, you can see the top of the emergency staircase in the booking hall. This is where the tour starts. Now, I have decided on this video that I'm only going to show photographs and snippets. If you can do the tour yourself, then that'd be great. I understand that not everybody is able to do the tour. So we go through this gate along the Bakerloo platform, and then we go through a little gate on the end of the platform here. Got to explore some of the passages that linked the Bakerloo platform to the original Bakerloo lift and staircase. We then came back up the platform and went down the staircase, which then brings us out on the basically the top of the Piccadilly line platform. We went along the Piccadilly platform and found these gates just along here. It was explained to us that the tiles there are painted black, so that the members of the public, when they walk past, they're not able to tell that there is a staircase there. There's certainly a lot more of the Piccadilly tunnels that are still remaining than what there are of the Bakerloo ones. In this tunnel, you could hear the echo of the trains as they travel through the running tunnels. As we walk down these part of the tunnels, you really get a sense of what the station must have been like when it was open. They also tell us a little bit about the history of the station and what happened during the war. And then before we knew it, we were at what is now the bottom of the disused staircase. Now, this staircase would have gone up from the Piccadilly line, up to the Bakerloo line, and then up to what was the booking hall. Today, this is used as a ventilation point. Now, I did try and work out where this comes out, and I think I've found out that it comes out here on the street. As part of the tour, we get to stand in the middle of the old lift shaft. Now, this is at Piccadilly line level. It's quite amazing how much bigger the lift shaft is compared to the emergency staircase. This image really doesn't do it justice, but this is really a huge space. Even with putting the photos side by side, it really doesn't show it off. After a good explore and a look around, we headed up back to the Piccadilly platform, which you can see through this gate here. And then we headed up the escalator. I was glad to go up the escalator this time rather than the stairs, back to the booking hall. There are some special features about this station that I haven't come across on any other station. One is that at the end of the Bakerloo line, you can stand at the end of the platform and look across and see the opposite platform. There's a memorial to Frank Pick. He was one of the managing directors of the London Underground between 1933 and 1940 and really helped to shape the Underground to how it is today. There's also this amazing world clock. It's a 1920s timepiece, and it features a westward scrolling horizontal time band that moves in sync with the Earth's rotation to show the time across the global longitudes. It is also one of 8 stations where access is from street level and there is no physical building on the outside. The other ones are Chancery Lane, Gants Hill, Monument, Notting Hill Gate, Regent's Park, Seven Sisters, and Warwick Avenue. Whilst I was on the Bakerloo platform, I tried to work out where the old cross passage would have come out onto the platform, and I think it's somewhere about here. So that's it, that's the tour done. That's the last one ticked off my list in terms of not being done before. It was really good to see where things are. Now, I had seen pictures online about the diagrams and station layout, but to actually see it in person makes quite a difference. Try and work out where things were, how things were laid out. So yeah, it's really good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.